How can we effectively talk to adopters about potential challenges that might arise? How can we ensure we come across as open, friendly, and wise? Meet Your Match makes educating adopters easy. Here are some communication tips that help foster that relationship.
Many of us have an easier time talking to cats and dogs than our fellow humans. We will share with you some quick tips that, with practice, will help you keep the conversation positive, friendly, and respectful.
You already know how important your tone of voice is with animals. It's just as important with humans. In fact, how you say something is often as important as what you say. You can create a respectful, friendly environment by using an ascending tone of voice in which your voice rises at the end like a question.
Let's start by listening to an example of a descending tone of voice.
I see here you're interested in Tiger. Let's review your survey and Tiger's assessment, and we'll see if you match.
A descending tone is when your voice comes down at the end of each statement and can be perceived as authoritative, closed, or even hostile.
Now listen to an ascending tone and note the difference.
I see here that you're interested in Tiger. Let's review your survey and Tiger's assessment and see how well you match.
Did you hear the ascending tone in the second example? An ascending tone of voice is perceived as non-judgmental and cooperative, which sets the stage for a great working relationship. The second tip is to ask open-ended questions, which provide better opportunities to give and get more information. They sound friendlier and encourage the other person to speak freely, providing valuable information you might not have gotten otherwise.
This is an example of a closed question.
Tiger would prefer not to be held. Does that bother you?
Notice how this question is likely to elicit only a yes or no response. In the next example, listen to how the same question is phrased as an open-ended question, allowing the adopter to provide a more thoughtful response.
Note the difference when the adoption counselor uses an open-ended question instead.
Since Tiger doesn't enjoy being held, how else might you like to interact with him?
Notice how this open-ended question can elicit more information. Paraphrasing, or repeating back what the adopter said in your own words, is a way of responding that indicates you understood what the adopter said, promotes further dialogue in a non-judgmental way, and prevents miscommunication.
In this example, the adoption counselor does not paraphrase what the adopter has told her. Listen to how it sounds and note the adopter's response.
Whenever we had company over, our cat loved to be pet by everyone. I'd really like another cat just like that.
Right, and I also see on your survey you want a playful cat.
To make the best match, we should be sure to understand the concerns and needs of the adopter. How could we have handled that better?
Listen to this next example where paraphrasing is used.
Whenever we'd have company over, our cat loved to be pet by everyone, so I'd really like another cat just like that.
Okay, so you want a cat who will come out and be friendly with strangers.
Notice how through paraphrasing, we've let the adopter know we understand what they mean and given them a chance to clarify, decreasing the likelihood of miscommunication. When it's time to talk about a challenge with an adopter, it's helpful to have some accommodation or potential solution in mind. Two little words that pack a whole lot of punch and can be easily avoided are but and why. You can change but to and why to when, how, what, or tell me, and this can significantly change the mood of the conversation.
In this example, the adoption counselor uses the word but rather than the word and.
Tiger is an active cat, but I see that your household is fairly quiet. How will you feel about setting some time aside each day to play with him?
But often negates whatever we said before it and implies that these two ideas or facts can't coexist. It can come across as doubtful, like we expect a negative outcome.
Now the adoption counselor replaces the word but with the word and.
Tiger is an active cat, and I see that you're a fairly quiet household. How do you feel about setting some time aside each day to play with him?
This sounds like we're positive, open to the possibilities, and ready to make a match work, and that certainly is the message we want to send. Why is the other word to avoid. Why often comes across as accusatory and puts the adopter on the defensive.
Listen to this example of the adoption counselor using the word why.
I understand you'd like a quiet cat, and Tiger tends to be pretty talkative. Why do you prefer a quiet cat?
This sounds challenging or even judgmental. Consider beginning your question with what, how, when, or tell me.
Listen to the difference when an adoption counselor replaces the word why with what.
I understand you'd like a quiet cat, and Tiger tends to be pretty talkative. What are your concerns about living with a talkative cat?
Just by changing a few words, you sound like you're looking for solutions and are open for additional conversation.
By using an ascending tone of voice, asking open-ended questions, paraphrasing, and avoiding the words but and why, we can help put adopters at ease. And once you establish this kind of rapport, you can really help adopters make their best match.